Hello, this is Elena Shively.
I'm Nolan Schmidt.
We will be presenters today. We will be talking about your role as a volunteer for the Red Cross Ready Rating Program.
Work distribution. So our work is distributed into three main categories. Field, which includes canvassing and generating interest in the program. Assessments, walking the business through the 1, 2, 3 assessment, getting their baseline score, and providing them resources. And the administrative category includes follow-ups and improvements.
So our role in the field will be contacting businesses to generate interest. We'll schedule and facilitate assessments, and we will provide knowledgeable face-to-face contact. We will be conducting follow-up emails, phone calls, and then 3 to 6 months after their original assessment, which gave them their baseline score, we'll do a follow-up assessment.
Potential canvassing roadblocks. If the business has a no soliciting sign, it's best to call these businesses first instead of walking in. If the owner or manager is absent, leave information with an employee and contact follow-up the next day. For corporations, you don't have the authority to make policy changes in-house, so it's best to stick with the smaller local businesses.
So where to start when canvassing? If you are canvassing in a city that has already had people canvassing in it before, you can start by researching 10 to 20 businesses to visit on each trip, and you can consult the outreach log to make sure you are not going to businesses that have already been visited. If you're canvassing in a city that has not already been canvassed before, you can reach out to the emergency manager, fire chief, and Chamber of Commerce, which is something we recommend just to get the ball rolling in that city. They may have some suggestions for places to go to start off with. And also consult the outreach log for city information such as demographics, things like that.
For materials, our main materials for this project are the outreach log, which is done on Google spreadsheet in the Google Drive, our field binder, which we take whenever we go out to the field and to our assessments, and the city binder, which is something that stays at the office to keep track of the assessments that we've done. So for the outreach log or Google spreadsheet, it's just a great way for us to track data for all our canvassing and assessment efforts. There are tabs for each of the major cities that we're working in, and each tab has the demographic information for each of the cities. You can access it through the central email address, which is readyratingnh@gmail.com, and people that are working on the project can be granted permission. We have a color coding system in place for our business visits. If it's white, they're not interested in the program. Beige means that they expressed a level of interest. Yellow means that you have scheduled an assessment or there is follow-up needed. And green means that the assessment has been completed. The perks of this Google spreadsheet are that you can update it from the field if you have an iPad or other mobile device capable of doing that. Multiple people can edit the spreadsheet, and you can save your progress offline.
So the field binder is what you'll be using when you are canvassing and also during assessments. So this field binder contains canvassing flyers, follow-up scripts for phone calls, and templates for emails. There are paraphrased assessment questions, so questions that are rewritten from the assessment to make them easier to understand, more accessible. And then there's a resource list, which corresponds to specific questions in the assessment. There's also a flash drive that holds the digital version of all printed materials, and that's backed up on the Google Drive.
The city binders, we have one of the binders per major city. Um, as the program progresses and some of the smaller cities and towns are being reached out to, we'll need to condense the city binders. Um, the reason that we have these is because it's a way we can keep a hard copy of the assessments that we've done for that city and keep them organized by alphabetizing them, creating business cover pages for each assessment, as well as having a hard copy of the assessment that is to be filled out when you are actually doing the assessment and walking them through. And it'll also coincide with the outreach log.
So our role during the assessments, we will go through the pre, during, and post-assessment stages.
Step 1, pre-assessment. Make sure the field binder is stocked with all the materials that you will need for the day. Research the applicant's business. Find out the local hazards of the city, whether it be floods, storms, biohazards, or anything like that. Look up the history of the business as far as emergencies and other disasters go and see if they've had any things like gas leaks or fires or damage from storms in the past. Find the name of the manager, safety officer, owner, or the main point of contact for that business. And the day before the assessment, you should give a reminder phone call to make sure that they are prepared for the assessment the following day.
So step 2 is the actual completion of the assessment. We use a 2-person system to do this. The first person will conduct the assessment with the applicant online, and the second person will be taking notes and looking up resources that correspond to the answers. So if a business owner says that they don't have all their employees trained in CPR, you could give them some information about Red Cross CPR classes or something like that. You can ensure that questions are addressed during the assessment, and then ask for any other businesses that they may know of that would be interested in doing an assessment with us.
Step 3, post-assessment. First thing you want to do is update the Google spreadsheet. Change the color to green because you have now completed the assessment. Write down any notes that you have from the assessment, and you want to put a date on the last time that you've contacted the business. Write a business cover page. We have basic templates which we'll go over after this for what you want to put as the cover page. Update the city binder. Put a hard copy of the assessment and cover page into the binder and arrange them in alphabetical order. And then write a follow-up email 3 to 5 days after the assessment. You want to use the appropriate template and provide resources specific to what that business really needs to improve.
So as we spoke about before, this is the business cover page. It has all the business's information, phone, address, email, and then also notes from the assessment.
Our role as administrators: make sure the field binders are stocked with resources, outreach logs, blank assessments, etc. Make copies from the flash drive if needed. And remember, if for some reason the flash drive were misplaced, everything's backed up on Google Drive. Ensure that all the materials are up to date. If changes were made, complete your daily situational report or SITREP, noting the following: significant happenings of that day, plans for the following day, any suggestions, concerns, or questions that you may have. And you'll want to be constantly looking to improve the presentations and other materials.
So this is the recap of the work distribution from the beginning. For the field work, you'll be canvassing using the field binder and then updating the outreach log of the businesses that you visited. For assessments, you'll be completing the assessment and afterwards providing resources for them to bolster their preparedness level and also their score. And for the administrative realm, you'll be doing follow-ups, updating the city binder when you've completed assessments, and making improvements to training materials and any other resource materials, things like that, field binders, stuff like that. So this concludes our training today. Thank you very much for your time.